So if you're watching this video, hopefully by now you've already viewed some of our tutorials. If you haven't, you might want to go back and watch the other tutorial videos just to get started. What I want to concentrate in this video is talking about the 5 major mistakes that people do starting off with online arbitrage that may cause them to fail and maybe even get frustrated and abandon online arbitrage, which is a great business model. So the first mistake that people do is they limit themselves to only one marketplace. Amazon allows us to sell on all marketplaces. It does not require a VAT number in each of the separate marketplaces. Thanks to the OSS, the one-stop shop, you don't need a VAT number in each one of the marketplaces where you sell, only in your home marketplace, wherever you are. So definitely go out and sell. You are leaving money on the table if you don't, because you can actually immediately use existing listings. And that's the advantage of online arbitrage, that you do use existing listings in order to sell your products Europe-wide. The second mistake that people do is they select a specific category. You want to cast your net as wide as possible, especially if you're coming from private label. We've been taught to sort of specialize in a specific category, in a specific niche. Here, we don't care. All we care about is, are the numbers there? Is the margins there? We want to make money. It's true that there are certain categories that you might want to avoid, like maybe dangerous, hazardous materials, or categories like shoes and clothes that have a lot of variance and measurements that make it much more complicated to value. But apart from that, there's no reason to limit any of the other categories. The other mistake that people do is actually doing the search too broad. For instance, if in the providers you choose all providers and you don't choose any other filters, you will get a lot of uninteresting results. What you want to do is look in a specific provider, see that that provider has things for us, and drill down. If you do use a broad search like all providers, make sure to set other filters, like for instance, the ROI and the minimum price, or maybe specific ASINs. So only use search for all providers if you've already limited the filters in other ways. Otherwise, you're going to get too many results, and the results on the top are not going to be very useful and are going to be extremely competitive, and you might not even make money on those. Another mistake that people do is not checking for restricted or hazmat materials. If you haven't yet, you can pause this video and install the Actorio Chrome extension. That will let you know inside the Actorio interface if you are restricted for a specific category. And it's a shame to spend time and maybe even money on buying products that you can't sell because they are restricted. So make sure to install the Actorio Chrome extension. And finally, the fifth mistake that people do is they use profit or ROI that are too high, especially if you're starting out and you may be gated in a lot of brands and a lot of categories. You're not going to find too many products if you set the ROI or the profit too high. We recommend the profit per product to not be more than 3 or 4 euros. The ROI should be about not higher than 20%, maybe 25%. And the profit, you want to set your expectations, because your objective when you're starting out is to find a lot of products to start selling, and then hopefully eventually get yourself ungated in more categories, and eventually you'll get to sell more and more ASINs. Great, so hopefully you might want to come back to this video later on once you're starting off, especially if you haven't seen the other tutorials. There's a link to us up in the tutorials menu, so you can make sure to come back and reference this and bookmark this video for future reference. So good luck on your search.